Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. Welcome to my first video where I review The Professionals. Now you may have noticed recently on the channel that I have done an unboxing video for this that I picked up, and it is The Professionals, the complete series on Blu-ray. Fully restored on Blu-ray, really good quality. Now I did do a classic review of The Professionals a few years ago on the channel, but it was like an overview of the whole show. I didn't review like episodes and that sort of thing, but I've really wanted to start watching it again because it's been a while since I've seen it. It's one of my favourite shows from my childhood. It's a show that means a lot to me, and I've still got a lot of affection for it. So I'm going to review like the discs with the episodes on. Now the first 4 episodes that I'm going to review are Old Dog with New Tricks, Long Shot, Where the Jungle Ends, and Killer with a Long Arm. Now these aren't necessarily the episodes in which they were aired when they were first aired on British TV. They were aired in a different sequence. These are actually, they've been put on the discs. This is disc 1 that I'm reviewing, and they were the sequence in which they were filmed. So the first ever Professionals episode that was filmed is Old Dog with New Tricks, and then so on and so forth. So it doesn't necessarily match with IMDb or anything when you watch like the episodes, how they're listed. They list in what order they aired on TV. This Blu-ray box set, to my knowledge, lists them in the order in which they were filmed. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through these first 4 episodes, and then I'm going to I've watched the first 4 episodes again, and then I'm going to carry on and watch some more, and then I'll keep going and reviewing like each disc. Some of them have got 4 on, some of them got a little bit more, all that kind of stuff. So I really do hope you enjoy catching up with The Professionals with me. Thanks for watching. So as I mentioned, the first episode was called Old Dog New Tricks, and it was the first episode that was actually filmed, but not the first episode that was shown in sequence when it was aired on British TV. Now this episode focuses on a leading gangster in London who is visiting his brother in jail. His brother in jail can't cope, and he begs his brother to get him out of jail. So they come up with this plan. They hijack some weapons, guns and grenades, that sort of thing, and they hatch a plan where they're going to take the secretary, is it the Secretary of Defence or something like that? They're going to take him hostage at a police station because he's going to be visiting an officer, giving him like a medal for honour sort of thing. They're going to take him hostage and then negotiate the release of his brother from jail. Obviously CI5, Bodie, Doyle and Cowley get wind of this, and they're hot on their trail in regards to trying to stop them before they hatch their or succeed with their plan. Now this episode is probably the most famous one in a sense of this is the one where Pamela Stevenson, Billy Connolly's wife, has the grenade down her top, and Bodie has to pretend to be like the doctor, charge up and save her. It's a really good episode. It's a good start to the series. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. It introduces these characters really, really well. You start to see the great chemistry developing between them, and for me, it's a really good, strong start to the series. Now, the second episode was called Long Shot. And if that face looks familiar there, that is Trigger from Only Fools and Horses. He plays, I think it's called Ramos. He's a hitman that has come over to the UK, and his target is actually Cowley from CI5. Everybody thinks it's this US diplomat that is over in this country that CI5 are protecting, but in actual fact it's Cowley that he's after. So there's a little bit of this cat and mouse thing, this Ramos who has taken this banker's daughter and hidden her so that he can hold up at this banker's house. Seems a bit of a silly plot point, really. He didn't necessarily need it. And then you see this Ramos character trying to set up the kill, failing, obviously, and then Bodie and Doyle going after his trail, and ultimately this Ramos getting his comeuppance and all this kind of stuff. It is a decent episode, this. I don't think it's a bad episode. But the Ramos character, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not necessarily what I would describe as poor acting. It was just really I don't really know how to put it. I just didn't buy the Ramos character, I suppose. You know, he wasn't very believable as this foreign hitman and all this kind of stuff. It's still fairly watchable. There are some good moments in the episode, and again, the chemistry certainly between Bodhi and Doyle is one of the highlights of this show. But it's not one that necessarily sticks in the memory. So I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10 for long shot. Like I say, it's certainly watchable and there are some decent moments within the episode too. The next episode, the third episode, is Where the Jungle Ends. And this one is famous because it's got David Suchet, as you can see there, as Bodhi's adversary. And this one focuses on these bunch of mercenaries that pull off this job, again, against this banker, and then they basically turn up at this banker's house, give him all the goods back and say, look, we want to work for you, but we won't pay him well. But they're also ex-comrades of Bodhi, because he's ex-military as Bodhi. He knows who they are, he knows their signature, and he's got a score to settle with the David Suchet character. So much of the episode is them trying to figure out where this group of mercenaries are hiding and holding up, and then Bodhi and Doyle tracking them down, and ultimately you get the confrontation between Bodhi and his adversary, who supposedly we get told the story from Bodhi that this David Suchet character killed someone that Bodhi was really in love with years ago, shot her dead, so he's got a real score to settle. We get to see him out on the road as well, Cowley, Bodhi and Doyle, like tracking them down. It's nice to see that as well. Great chemistry between all three of them. And a fun end to the episode as well. Probably, arguably, certainly the most action-packed episode that we've had so far, this one. And definitely one that kind of sticks in the mind. It's always one that I remembered from watching when I was younger and all that kind of stuff. It's a memorable episode, so I'll give it an 8 out of 10. And finally, episode 4 on disc 1 is an episode called Killer with a Long Arm. Now, this one probably is quite comparable to the long shot one, because they're both hitmen. This one's a Greek hitman, but he's far more believable than the Ramos character. And he's come to this country again to perform a hit. We don't know where. Bodhi and Doyle and Cowley have got to try and figure out who this hitman is, what kind of gun he's using, and what the target is. So much of the episode is these guys investigating. There are some moments where there's some quite good action, and I think the conclusion of this episode is one of the strongest yet, where they take out the hitman from like Bodhi diving over the balcony and Doyle kicking down the door, sort of thing. Pretty tense, pretty good stuff, and I just think it's a really nicely structured episode, and one of the certainly the strongest ones that I would consider on certainly season 1 or series 1. We're not in America with this show, but yeah, really, really enjoyable. And again, we're getting to see this real chemistry between Bodhi and Doyle. And again, it's interesting because it's quite well documented that in real life they didn't get on, Lewis Collins and Martin Shaw, but that spark really, really worked in regards to the chemistry with the show. And this episode is certainly a fine example of that. So I think this is a strong, strong episode. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Very good, very memorable. So yeah, guys, that is my review for the first 4 episodes of The Professionals, as shown presented on this box set here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll join me for more episodes that I'm going to review of The Professionals, and take you down memory lane a bit with this show. So thank you very much for watching, everybody.